You're about to enter the world of Michael Zavala. Now's your chance to turn back.
Get in the bat cave, Michael. Don't do Red Bull, do cocoa or something. I can't hear you. Wow, he's Dowie citizen.
I'm just amazed at what you think about.
This is MZNOW.
We have Preachers in Disguise in studio with us today, and how I know these guys, or how I heard about them was through Ricky Booker, and when he was on a few months ago, and Spider, he just had his what is the 100th episode, right? It was a celebration of the 100th episode for this TV show.
I heard, and I missed out because I was up here, but you got to go.
I got to go for a little bit. I was so tired, and I was like, man, I got to get up there though. I got to support Ricky And also, really, the reality is I wanted to try the food because I heard so many good things about it. And it was going to be free, so I was like, I got to try that. So I showed up. I had 2 plates, cleaned them both. It was delicious. It was some of the best food. You know, you go to some restaurants, I like the chicken, but I didn't like the mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are all right. The bread was okay. Everything here was a 10. So, and I'm not just saying that. It was so good. And you work with Ricky.
Right, I do.
You manage them all.
Yes, I'm the regional manager for Breakfast Brothers, so I'm pretty much over every operational aspect of it. Met Ricky about 3 years ago. I was a chef at another restaurant that I started. I'll leave the name nameless. Ricky found out I was over there, and he sent someone over there to recruit me.
He said, "This food's so good, I got to have them."
So we became friends before we became work associates.
Yeah.
But eventually we got together and, I started working. This is what I do. I'm a culinary school graduate. Shout out to Bedwell Training Center in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Did that and, opened up a few restaurants and, the rest is when I started with Ricky, they had 1 restaurant and, now we're at 4 and we're moving food truck, full service catering business. And also a location in Houston, Texas. So
you're not only an amazing cook, chef, you're also a rapper, and that's what you guys are here to talk about today. Preachers in Disguise. Which can you tell me a little bit of how this got started, how you guys met?
Sure, MZ. Thanks so much for having us here, man. PID, Preachers in Disguise. We started actually in the 80s. I was a student at a Bible school over in South Dallas. And I went to that Bible school at about 16 years old. So at my time of graduation, close to 18, 19, I was doing street outreach. I was a youth worker, a youth pastor over in South Oak Cliff. Shout out to South Oak Cliff and everybody out there in South Dallas. And just working with students. But we would use hip hop because we realized that was the language of the kids that we were working with. It was our language. We all grew up on hip hop, in hip hop. And we started using it in a way to share the message of the gospel, right? And we noticed when we do live street events, we'd start rhyming and everybody start coming over. We would just go to different apartments. Like, you name an apartment complex, we were probably there. That was our tour back in the day.
You were doing it wasn't Christmas carols, it was rapping carols, I guess.
We was rapping, man. We was
knocking on the door.
Literally, we would set up actually sometimes in the parking lot or wherever, like where the laundromat was, wherever we could do it, and we would set up in apartments, and we had a drum machine, rolling 505 drum machine.
Oh, wow.
We had some SP12 turntables, so we get our drum machine, our turntables, 2 mics, and just some speakers, and just go. We just go at it, and as we start rhyming, everybody would start coming in, and then as we start preaching, they start filtering out. Yeah. So that's what we kind of came up with the name. We just Holy Ghost preachers and rap in disguise. That's what we do. We preach, but we rhyme, and it's the same thing. It's kind of all what we do. So that's the idea of Preachers in Disguise. It's like we're rhyming, but we're preaching at the same time.
Yeah. the production of the music? Who was doing that? Was that you?
Yeah, I was the Poindexter. I was the nerd kid that out of the three guys that was like, okay, I want to figure out this little rolling drum machine and figure out these, and so we started developing and start working on our skills as far as production. But yeah, I was the kid.
So you're performing in wherever you can perform.
Yeah, we were performing wherever. And one we got, like, as we were doing stuff locally, we got some gigs at the Prophet Bar. Those that go back.
Now, that was right next door to the door.
Yeah, the door in the Prophet Bar. So
we're talking about the old one back in.
This is the old back in the day over in Deep Ellum.
That just happened to be the first place I ever DJ'd as well.
What?
First place I ever performed, my parody rap group as well. Yeah.
We're there at the door. Well, our first album, we took the picture in front of the door, right there, right in front of that whole spot right there, the Prophet Bar. And so, yeah, that's where we started. Shout out to everybody there in the whole Deep Ellum world. But that was where we started, man.
Do you sign a record deal away?
We take off from there, and then we start traveling. We're trying to get gigs, and it was different. I got a young guy that I mentored that's a MC as well. He kind of came up in the 90s and the early 2000s. His name is Dooney, and Dooney had a song he called "Too Worldly for the Church, Too Churchy for the World." That was kind of our situation. We do clubs. We opened and did clubs. But the style that we did was a little bit, we preaching. So it's like folks are like, this is good. I'm jamming, but man, it's good. And then at the same time, we go into church and they like what we're saying, but the beat is hard and all of that, Right. So we just said we're going to find our own niche. So we started working to find our own niche and just started making up gigs and doing gigs and traveling. We got a couple of shows. We did several pieces. We did some stuff. Cornerstone Music Festival in Chicago. That was one of our big openings, and once we got that, it was a record deal for a talent show. We won the talent show, got the record deal, and that's kind of how we got signed.
So it was like American Idol almost.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. Early back in the 80s, man. Way early.
I don't know if we mentioned this. You guys were the first Christian rap group ever, right?
We were one of the first. It's about 3 or 4 that kind of emerged at the same time, that were just doing things and just kind of just put some stuff out. One of the very first groups that did it, it wasn't even rappers. These were just some studio heads, the Raptures. That was their name, the Raptures. These
That's
were
rough.
just all white guys that they were just studio heads that loved studio equipment.
Right.
It was like no rhythm, no flow. It was like, and so for those that love hip hop culture and kind of our ethic, the way that we do what we do, we believe in just being like a part of that culture. It's like, I'm not speaking to this culture. I'm a part of this culture, speaking on the behalf of the culture. So we wanted to make sure that we represent hip hop to the fullest. And so we were kind of one of those groups that, especially from kind of the Christian world, came out. Like, we would rock BKs with no shoelaces. We would rock real SP12s on stages. We rhyming, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you rhyming and you stomp and you into another song. Because you just messed up your whole soundtrack, right? So we wanted to represent that. We would rock with the fat gold chains, which is hard to do.
Yeah.
Because as you rhyme and you start swaying, that fat gold chain will hit you in the head.
Yeah, it hit the mic. Bing.
Bing, it hit the mic. But we was into it. We loved it. We were hip hop. And so that's where we started. Yeah, that's our beginnings, man.
It's interesting because the first rap group that I knew about when I was a kid that was doing Christian music was Grits.
Yes.
And
those guys, Coffee and those guys.
Yeah.
Good guys, man. So Grits, in that sense, Grits would be what we would probably call second or third generation.
Yeah, they were definitely they were later on. This is probably like early 90s maybe.
Yep, early 90s.
And so they, I'm sure, were inspired by you guys.
Yep.
Do you ever have people come up to you and like, hey, I didn't know there was anything like this until I found you guys, and then I thought, oh, I could do something like this too?
Yep. Yeah, we have it all the time. In fact, when we go to different music festivals, we were just at Flavor Fest last November, and we had some guys from August. And so what is it, Social Club? Those guys, this is a gospel rap group. They're doing some things, making some noise, and they're like, man, my mom used to listen to y'all, man, and I called on what you guys were doing and said I can do it, and that's what it's all about, So it's really cool to see folks stand on your shoulders and then they take it further than that. So yeah, we get it all the time. It is so much fun. It's fun to see.
So how did you guys meet?
Wow. So we met when we started PID. Our whole thing was almost kind of like what would you call it? Like a group of preachers. That's why we continue to call ourselves preachers in disguise. But we were like this group of preachers. And so I was traveling, and by like the 90s, late 90s, we needed another member. We needed another head rhymer. And so I ran into Jay. Chef Jay, we ran into Jay. He was a youth worker in Pleasant Grove. Shout out to
Pleasant Grove, man. Heartline Ministries.
Heartline Ministries, man. Working them streets right there on Buckner.
Buckner, man. 2414 South Buckner Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
Pastor Clifford Frazier.
Tell them about it, man, when we met. We did a show at y'all's church.
Right. So I was the youth pastor at Heartline Ministries.
Yeah.
And I was looking for some things. We started the youth ministry from the ground up, and looking for things, for the youth.
Sure.
A lot of my kids that went there, didn't want to go to church. Their parents were, from a certain neighborhood, and they had to go because they lived there.
Right. So, you want to stay in this house?
You pay rent.
Yeah.
Go up to church.
Exactly.
Right.
You go to church. So, I used to rap at home. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Pittsburgh. When I was a kid, I used to rap. I used to be in a rap group in the projects. No drum machine, no nothing, beating on bus shelters.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. And, out there rapping. I used to rap with a dude. His name is Doug Grace. We used to be called Rock and Roll. His rap name was DJ Roll. My rap name was JL Rock. They used to call us Rock and Roll. We thought we were the Pittsburgh Run DMC.
Yeah.
But we were pretty famous in Pittsburgh, man. We used to do shows, high school, win competitions and everything. Like, we thought we were
on your way.
Man, we thought we were on our way. We just really did. Doug was a very, very good basketball player, and then he went to college on a basketball scholarship, and that kind of ended. That. But I still love rapping. When I was 19, I got saved, and just looking for ways to engage the youth.
Yeah.
You can't take things away from them without a viable replacement.
That's
so because
true,
I knew how to rhyme, I knew how to put things together, we started this little rap group in the church, and that's how I would get them to start introducing them to rap. Now, at my church at the time, I'm not positively sure if rap was allowed.
Right.
But because my pastor trusted me, and he supported me, and said, I asked him, I said, I want to bring PID in, and he was like, I told him about him, and we did some research on him. So I talked to Fred, brought Fred in, and Fred and Kevin, and they came in. They did a little show. We have every fourth Sunday was youth night.
Yeah.
I went to a church where you went to church a lot.
Right. You basically lived there.
Wednesday, yeah. You went Wednesday, you went Sunday morning, and then
Sunday night.
Yeah. No, Sunday night all the time. Just one of them Sunday nights, it was going to be, a youth explosion, and that's actually what it was called. So PID came and they performed, and my kids they loved it. A couple of them did a couple songs that they had been working on, just little short snippets, and then I'm just sitting back, and then they're like, "Oh no, come on, brother Jay, So I did a couple rhymes, and then did that. The show was great. My church was real receptive. I was really happy. Few weeks later, I got a call from them, say, "Hey man, why don't you come out to the studio and lay some lyrics?" So we went to that studio down here off of Inwood somewhere.
Yeah, dude, it's like probably about 4 blocks from where we are in this building.
Wow,
right
now that's crazy.
Yeah, I remember going in there, and they had this little setup off to the side, and went in, and they're like, "Yo, man, we just want you to put some lyrics on drop some lyrics." And I, went in the booth, pulled the shade across, because
little shower curtain
across, and then lay some tracks down and sang some songs.
Look, and we felt it was magic, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, even that night at the youth group, afterwards, me and my brother, we came back, and my brother was like, "This dude is the dude. Did you hear his voice?" And I was like, "Yeah."
There's a missing
and not
link.
only just his voice, but just his flow. And for us, like I said, we kind of considered ourselves almost like a society, a group of preachers that understand that you got to preach, but you also got to reach. You got to reach folks at their level. You don't go just to preach stuff down people's throat.
Right.
Reach. And we were like, this dude's got it. He's got it. And so my brother pursued him. He was like, that's why he's like, come on in the studio. And when we heard him in the studio too, it's one thing to hear somebody live, but then if they can reproduce what they did live, and this dude had it.
Wow.
So we was like...
And the great thing is when you guys go on tour, he can also make you breakfast.
Well, that was the plus. That was the plus. That's what we found out. I'll never forget when we found it out. We were in Detroit. We were working on our third album. We were working on our third album. We were like, okay, they put us in this apartment and we were doing the studio every morning. And Jay was like, look, I got this. Let me go on and get this. And that's when we met Chef Jay.
You put on a little hat?
We went to Sam's and we bought a bunch of food and brought it back to the apartment and we started cooking. I've always cooked. That wasn't my profession at all back then. It was
a passion.
Yeah, it's just something that's it's always been in me. But like you said, there's a lyric in one of the songs that says, I said I was sitting at home and I put the Rhyme Jones on pause. Mm-hmm. And it was Knife, and our DJ came back to Knife. He said it was Knife telling me it's time to get yours.
Yeah.
And I said yes, Lord, to the call, grabbed the mic and I hauled. Mm-hmm. So right after that, we were going to Amsterdam.
Yep.
We were going. I mean, when I'm telling you, right after that, I had to go back and face my pastor like, hey, opportunity just came up for me to go minister abroad. Rapping, with PID. And he looked at me and he said, well, what about my youth ministry?
Yeah.
And I said,
what a tough decision.
And I said, well, I got somebody to do that. And he said, well, okay. He said, I'm not too really okay with that, but, I know, I trust God is telling you to do that.
Yeah.
And he just told me one thing, is I just want you to remember one thing. He said, I know you think this is the Christian music industry, but the music industry is the music industry.
Boom.
Yeah.
Period.
And I understood exactly what he meant. Mm-hmm. Got with Fred and Kevin.
Yep.
Got on the plane.
Was in Amsterdam.
Was went to Denmark first, remember?
Denmark, yep.
Went to Denmark, we went to Val, Denmark.
Yep.
Did a show, which was, I'm going to tell this story.
Yeah, go ahead and tell it.
So we go to Val, Denmark. We get there. We're the only rap group. They have this station called DNN. It's just like CNN, but it's called the Danish National Network. So they have all the, the video people there, and we're doing pre-production stuff, and we're talking to them, and there's some bigger groups there than us, that were performing. And they were going to go on stage and, film them because they do this every year. Well, they kind of played us off, kind of like, no, we're not going to do the rap. So we're sitting there thinking, oh, this guy's going to go. That's great. So we're on stage, and we came onto all the smoke. And then when the smoke cleared, there were all these dudes on stage with cameras. And we thought it was them because they were broadcasting it, but it was the Danish National News. The way that we came out, they were like, oh, no, we got to get these guys. We got to get these guys. So we perform and do everything. So later that evening, we were walking to McDonald's. We were walking. These kids were following us. We got scared. And we started running, and we ran to the McDonald's, and they was running with us. And when we got there, they was like, hey, we know you guys. We just seen you on the Danish National News.
Yeah.
And that's why they were chasing us.
That's why they were chasing us.
That's why they were chasing us.
So this was like right in 1991. I'll tell you why I remember it, because we were there in Amsterdam right after Denmark. We were in Amsterdam, and it was the Rodney King verdict. Yep. Remember when Rodney King and that whole thing? Yeah. So we were in Amsterdam on tour looking at like, that's our hood. I mean, this is home. It's not necessarily our hood.
Yeah, it's still.
But it's the hood that we understand and we know. And we saw all of that. And I think that was part of it, especially for Danish news, because it was this whole mystique of what is this rap and this hip hop and these people using their voices against all the injustices that's going on. And now they were like, and now we have some rappers in our world here in Europe. And we were like, hey, we're doing this, but we were trying to bring some good news. I remember that, man, running from those kids.
And it was
dipping
funny,
in Mickey D's.
I'm going to tell this story. We were in there at McDonald's, and Kevin said, he looked around, he said, dude, I could tell we ain't in America no more. I'm like, why? He said, because there's no black people working in this McDonald's. That was so true.
Yeah. So that was 91, 92. At the end of 91, we were on tour. We did this. We put together our own tour called Partners in Rhyme, and we did with several other West Coast Christian hip hop groups. And Jay had to step out. He had to step back and go, and like his pastor told him, this is the music industry, and you know how the music industry is.
Sure.
She will love you and she will turn on you, and you ain't gonna make a lot of money sometimes.
Right.
You know? And we were in that case. And so Jay needed to take care of some things at home. And so I was back on solo, and we ended up doing the tour, and we ended up in New York. This was in New York, and it was a big blizzard. So it was like the blizzard at the end of 91 or beginning of 92 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a big blizzard in New York. We were at the King's College, and we met this kid, this Bronx bomber, this kid from the Bronx that got up, and it was deja vu all over again when I met this guy. This guy gets up and he rhymes. He is preaching, his rhyming, and it's like all over again. I meet this guy. He understands rhyme. He understands kids. He understands what this is all about. Fell in love with him. I was like, who is this dude? And so introducing Ace MC. What's up, Rich?
Yeah. So it's wonderful in terms of just like hearing, Jay, your story, right? And then the situation with us insofar as meeting at the college. I was a part of a conglomerate of gospel rappers out of New York. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York. And just like you guys, it started in church. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up in church like that. But when I recommitted my life to the Lord at 14, you know, that was cool, but then had to do another rededication at 17.
No doubt.
In the church that I was attending at the time. That's where I met my first producer. And just through a myriad of different things, got connected with other MCs in New York that were on that same level. And so we connected with D-Rock. Shout out to D-Rock, Power Plant Radio. That was my first exposure to other artists who actually had record deals and were recording, and you guys were one of those groups. And so we was like, we're about to come together and we're going to open up for them. So I'm like, okay. And so we did that. And it was just a surreal experience. Like after we did our thing and I was watching you guys, and I was like a fan, because what you guys were doing is like, this is what I'm talking about. Wait a minute, time out. These guys got deals. People got record deals doing this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, not knowing, right? You know, the fullness of what that meant. But at the same time, it was like, okay, there's people that come before, and it's like what we were familiar with at that point in time was just Stephen Wiley, and you know, Stephen Wiley was back in 82.
So early.
So he's doing Curtis Blow style, and we're in LL Cool J phase. Yeah. We're in Big Daddy Kane phase. Yeah. You know, so that's where I'm coming from. And my history is this, the block party specifically. You know, you got to show and prove, like Rakim said, like that was too small. So I kick a hole in the speaker, I go home and I jet back to the lab. You know what I'm saying? So it was that experience for me. I'm doing block parties in New York and doing things of that nature. Met my producer, who was also my mentor in the things of God. Met D-Rock, was doing the power plant with him. He did some production. Met you guys, saw you guys, and Kev. Kev was like the infernal recruiter of new talent for PID.
This was my brother back in the day.
Yeah. And he was a DJ. And so Kev approached me. He was like, yo, and that was at the point in time where Jay, you know, had to go home. I was like, yo, so what do you think about, you know, just being a part of what we're doing, You know, there was a period of time with that, and you got to tell the truth, Fred, because Fred didn't like me initially. Not that he didn't like me personally, but and this is how Kevin tells it. He's he had to convince you. Yeah, you know, because
you saw the talent. You just like, I don't know if he's a good fit.
I saw the talent. And from what I've been doing, okay, by that time, this was like going into 92. So I started in 87, 88. Yeah. And, you know, you get people that just rhyme off the corner all the time. Right. And people with talent. So I saw the talent. I saw his flow. What I really wanted to know was, okay, does this get like? There's a great line that KRS says. He says anyone can or should be able to grab a turntable, grab a mic, plug it in, and begin. But here's where the problem starts: no heart.
Yeah.
Because of this, a lot of groups fall apart.
Right.
And so I wanted to know if this dude had the heart, and I found out very soon where his heart was at. And I was like, okay, I'm all in. If this is where this dude's heart is at, and this was where his heart was at. It was not just doing hip hop for the sake of doing it, but doing it for the sake of like really making the world a better place.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's what's up. And I'll tell you, over the 30 years, almost 30 years that we've known each other,
No doubt.
I'm like, that's what this man has been about. That's what both of these guys has been about. It goes back to my whole goal of what I wanted to start was this society of preachers that utilize the word and utilize preaching in a way that like it's going to help each other and help the world be a better place. Not to condemn and judge everybody, but just literally to be a band of guys, girls, whatever the case, but a band of folks that's saying, okay, let's go in this and do it for the right reasons. So boom.
So you know, in '89, in processing with my manager, mentor, at that point in time, he was doing production, secular, if you will, secular production, and got me signed. So I was signed to Word Epic at the time. Mm-hmm. But you know, these labels at that point in time, they was trying to figure out how does this gonna work? You know, because you know, bottom line is we got to make money. Yep. Right. And at that point in time, when you talk about the passion of where I came from doing block parties and things of that nature, I come from the battle rap era. I come from you got to come with lyrics. You got to come with your bars. You got to represent and, you know, got to move the crowd at the same time. It's not just, you know, what battle rap may be right now today. It's like you got to be.
Especially right now with the Drake and the Kendrick stuff going on.
Well, you know, even with that,
ridiculous.
You know, that's, you know, diss raps, that's one thing, but as far as entertaining your crowd just off the strength of skills, I carried that insofar as when I got saved and realized, okay, I can do this, then the same attitude. It's like I'm not going to compromise the attitude where I come from in terms of spitting. And so when we made that connection, what you were looking for, you know, I realized in you guys, it's like, okay, you don't have to compromise. And so that just geeked me out more to be like, okay, so I'm going to really come with it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Insofar as the message and the reality of my relationship with God and the fact that I get to do this and now this is being presented to me, man, it was just like, okay, let's do this. Yeah. And then, of course, y'all were like, that with that experience, like, you don't really understand, young man, what you're getting involved in because you know what I'm saying? Jay had to step off because it was a money issue, right? But at the end of the day, you got to believe God. And so here we are 30 years later, and we still believe in God.
Still doing it.
You know
still loving the passion, still loving the music, still loving getting ways to get out there in front of people, present, spit, do what we do, but see that world turning into a better place. There is nothing, MZ, you said it, you started a rap group yourself. There is nothing like using your gift in entertaining, and you just like, you see that gift turn on, and you see it turn on in front of the
MZ
people,
got bars?
and the people love it, and you love it. Wait, MZ, you got bars.
Here's the thing. Now, if you give me 6 months, I'll write.
That's about right.
He said he started a rap group. I'm like,
right.
To answer your question, I have bars if you give me at least a couple of years. Let me write something down.
Polish them up. Just
right.
polish the bars. You got bars.
Now,
I
just got to take them back and then fix a couple things. I got to change it, rotate the tires. I'm writing something now just in case Drake comes after me.
There you go. Just in case.
So I'm preparing.
Just in case.
But no, I mean, I'm not near. I love that's my favorite genre of music because I think you can say more with that. You can move more with that. Mm-hmm. And look at where we're at now, 2024. You know, rap's 51 years old now.
51 years old.
And it is the popular music.
Popular music.
Finally.
It's still everything.
Still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, you got Taylor Swift, but no one's talking about her rap battle, just talking about who she's, dating. Right now, the biggest story is this Drake, Kendrick, and all these people. Kanye got into it. That's what people love because that's the power of that genre.
Yeah, it causes so much stirs and makes people, turn and look. Who said it well? LL, people stop and stare, when I enter in. It's like we enter in with that hip hop and you want to hear what's being said. And my hope is that we pull up the conversation up a little bit higher. I get this rapping, I get the battles and all of that. All of that is fun. But at the same time, we are also growing older. We grown men rapping right now too. So yeah, we could talk about our beefs and all of that, but we can also like do that and then say, okay, this is kind of like wrestling, right? Yeah. It's kind of like wrestling because both of us, we got children that go to the same private school. Right. And we gonna see you at vacation. Yeah, I'll see you out there.
It's like that Looney Tunes cartoon where the sheepdog walks in and out with the wolf.
Yeah, and
see
they
you tomorrow,
fight.
Fred.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end, they clock out.
Yeah.
And they do life. The beautiful thing where hip hop is at, where it's growing up, is that we're realizing that we're more than one dimension. We can do life and we can figure out how to do better things, bigger things, so we can have stuff.
But doesn't that make the music better too?
All the time, yeah, I think that makes the music much better.
You said something to the effect of it. It's 51 years old now, and going back to the teacher. KRS once said in his rhyme, you know what I'm saying? 30 years down the line will be the old school artist.
That's right.
And the whole premise is that there's a level of maturity that comes when you're talking about a genre, a musical form from a culture. And that's the other thing that people it's music, but it's the culture, right?
True.
You have to wait for people to grow up.
Yeah, man.
So all of those cats that we listened to back in the day, they were our age, 16, 17, 18.
That's right.
Coming in. So there's not a lot that they could teach us in terms of life because they were just figuring it out themselves. But now, like you said, Fred, they're husbands and wives and they got kids. Some of them got grandkids.
That's right.
And some of them are still spitting. You can't rhyme the same things you was rhyming when you were 17 years old.
That's
life is different now.
Yep.
And so for us, even insofar as on the gospel side of things, it's like we're in a position now where we are those elder statesmen to be able to talk to the younger cats in regards to the music that they're listening to now is so one-dimensional. Come up and let's start talking about not just the things of God, but how does it affect you and your reality, your life now?
That's right.
Through the music. Because the music is still there. It's still powerful. It's still capturing people's attention.
Mm-hmm. That's the tool of music. And that's what our goal was to do with as Preachers is the group we call it, and we kind of call it, we go by the name of Preachers, and that's Preachers with an AS. If you, in fact, if
you took the disguises off.
Yeah, we took the disguise off, and this is
more
what
trench coats.
We play with the disguises. Sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't.
Right.
Especially, in fact, when we follow the way of our master, Jesus, like he used parables all the time. What is parable? It's a sermon in the disguise of a story. That's all it is. And so in the same sense, that's kind of the same tradition that we choose to take. It's like, sometimes I'll pull it completely off and tell you exactly what I'm about. And then other times I'll just tell you some stories, or I'll rhyme a rhyme that's just a fun rhyme. I'll put something with a little battle in it just to pull you in so you can understand that at the same time we're going to do that. But at the end of the day, at the end of it, I'm going to put my arm around you and say, let's go and figure out how to get you paid better. How to get you, get your bank account up, whatever the case, because we're trying to do life at a higher level.
Well, and the passion comes through because here you are, again, going back to 30 years later, and we're talking about music you've been doing this whole time, and you're still doing it.
Yep.
You guys just got nominated or won?
We won.
We just got inducted. We just got inducted.
Inducted
into the Holy Hip Hop Hall of Fame. So this was a good year for us. Just got inducted.
Congratulations.
Into the Holy Hip Hop Hall of Fame. That was really great. It was fun. It was fun. Much love.
Yes.
And now you've got a documentary you're working on.
Documentary that just came out. It's called Mic Drop. And so you can go and check it out. MicDropTheMovie.com. Go check it out. And what's really cool, so now Mic Drop, that soundtrack, which we got a piece on there. Rich ASMC is rhyming on this soundtrack. 31 Summers is the track, right?
Summers, yep.
Mic Drop, the soundtrack has gotten over 1 million downloads. So the movie itself has gotten over 70,000 downloads already.
Wow.
So it's beyond the cult classic. So we're really excited about that. But it traces the whole history, the real history of Christian hip hop and kind of how it started and the Chitlin circuit that we had to build and all of that. So when you got the Lecrae's and the Andy Minios and all of these great guys, all of those are our grandbabies and we love them all.
Has Lecrae reached out and like, hey?
Oh yeah, we've connected. We good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
That's really cool. And then you got the album that's coming out.
The Crucible.
And you're working on it now, or is it done?
Oh, we're working on it.
Okay.
Ace, why don't you tell them a little bit about the Crucible, what it's about?
Well, I'm saying, like, within the context of this 30-year experience on and off, while we've all been cool with each other, the aspect of actually doing a project together, this would be the first. This would be the first that me and Jay would be on a project together with Fred. And so us three, what was it? We were at Flavor Fest, right?
Flavor Fest,
and,
music festival out in Florida.
After we had done that, we got together the next day for breakfast. We was just sitting down and we was like, look.
There's something still
There's
here.
something
We
here.
love this.
And so, and it wasn't even like, yo, we're going to push for a record deal. We're just going to get together. We're going to do some music together.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this and we're going to perform it together. And one thing led to another. It was nothing it was very organic how things began to open up. And Fred, you reached out and, with James Russo, just letting him know like what we were doing and, kind of like, when we do this, can we get some radio play, on Sirius XM? And he was like, you know what? We need to talk.
Yep.
And he laid out, hey, what they were doing as far as starting their own label. And hey, I want to sign PID. And that just like, wow.
Yeah.
Look 30 years later.
Right.
Where we were in our mindset of just, putting some music together and just building with each other.
And you were living life at the same time, right?
Oh, Rich is a full-time pastor. He's a pastor.
Yeah.
He pastors a church as well as manages and owns 2 nurseries where they're working with kids.
Nurseries.
No, nursery. What's the name? Child
Care Development Center.
Okay, all right, yeah.
That's the nursery. That's where they work with children.
I was thinking trees.
I was too.
He grows them up like trees.
Yeah, there you go.
Fred still call stewardess, flight attendant stewardess.
That's a stewardess over there. Can you come over here and give me some water?
I know it's hard to break. I do the same thing.
Yeah, but the
Still
child
call
care
girls
center,
Broads.
Right. Broads.
Oh my God.
You're a hussy right now.
But so Rich is in the community, working in the community, doing grown man stuff, right? And working with folks. Jay working as the manager for Breakfast Brothers and doing what he does. And I myself, I'm a youth evangelist and a traveling speaker, and I travel and speak in schools and travel and speak. And we all kind of still love the music. So we all messing around with music and all of that. 50 years of hip hop comes up last year.
Right.
And so we get a couple churches, a couple festivals say, hey, can you guys come back as PID, especially because of the documentary? So we say, cool, let's do it. We do Flavor Fest, and it was something about the magic. Like Rich said, we did an album in 91, Born with the Gift, and that was me and Jay as PID. And then Jay came back to Dallas to go on to do some work, take care of his family. And so in 92, almost 93, we do Violent Playgrounds as PID. Or Preachas at that time.
Yeah.
And same name, kind of like PID, like P. Diddy and Puff Daddy, same concept. Okay.
Just a name. By the way,
And let's just give it right there, just the name. That's not a good analogy right
I was going to say.
Just track with me. Just track with me.
Heavy D. So maybe, the Hevster.
Snoop Dogg, Snoop Lion.
So anyway, so, I can take y'all real back. George Clinton and, Sir Nose devoid of funk.
There you go.
Take it back. But same concept, same folks. We just evolving as we grow. And Rich came in 92, 93, and we did the Violent Playgrounds album. So we never kind of did an official album as all 3 of us, right? But we got on stage, and that magic was still there.
The actual magic happened though when we were doing the promotion for the documentary
for Mike Drop.
When we did the Granada.
The Granada.
That
we was like, something is here.
Yeah.
And Mike Z, you would know this, and many of you guys out there that are listening, you'll know this. Whenever you're doing your thing, and it's almost like you can step outside of yourself and watch and say, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
You know, this thing is really feeling good and having fun. And you notice the people like it. So we got off stage and just looked at each other and it's like, there's something here.
Yeah.
And so we pursued the folks there at Holy Culture Radio, which is a Sirius XM radio station. What is it, 140?
140.
And the owner of that station is a good friend of mine. So I was like, say, man, we're thinking about putting something out, you know, can you give some old school heads a little love?
Yeah.
You know, maybe play our stuff if we put something out. He stopped everything. He said, Fred, stop everything. Call me right now. I call him and he's like, look, not only are we doing the station, we are actually starting a label, and we want it as like a label where we're not trying to sign everybody. We want a vintage label of specific people like that we were wanting to sign, and you guys are one of those type of groups that we need to sign. We need you to represent hip hop because you guys have the receipts that you started since 1988. Your first album came out.
Yeah.
So when we talk about competing in the real world of hip hop, we can show the receipts that these are real MCs that love the art, love the craft, and they're not just trying to get on because it's the next best thing.
Yeah.
You talked about you talked about, Mike. You said you talked about having passion.
Yeah.
So and that is a fact because even though I wasn't there, I moved back to Pittsburgh. Still kept in contact with Fred and Rich. They would send me tracks. Yo, here, throw some lyrics on this. I would, throw some lyrics on it, send it back to them. They would do things with it. But the thing about passion is the Granada Theater. That was actually the first time we really performed together, and ever.
Us three together.
Ever.
Yeah.
And about 27 years since I know I performed, and we just got on that stage, and
it was like riding a bike.
Right. Because this is what I believe. We have a kindred spirit.
Mm-hmm.
We just do. We all lived our lives. We all met. God placed us together, and we never, because I wasn't rapping with PID, I was still praying for him. Rich Ace showed me some pictures that I didn't even know existed. I have my son over here. He's 40 years old now. He participated in Born with the Gift on a couple of albums with us. And he, participated on an album with Rich when he was 11. But, it's just been a passion for all of us. We've continued to do that.
Yeah.
And now that we're together, when we got on that stage.
We continue to stay connected to each other.
Exactly.
Like in the knowledge of our transition after the Violent Playgrounds, I don't even know how. I think it was through work.
Right.
Through Tony hooking me up, and then you told me, hey, such and such and such and such, and so we had a connection, and we began to build. Where I was like, yo, you still spitting? And he was like, yeah, and that's how your son got on, you got on, and so we began to build, and then we all three began to build. So it wasn't just the music; it was our families.
Right. Yeah,
exactly.
we were doing life. We were doing life.
I showed my daughters that picture. Man, and
when they're little.
Oh my God, she was like, oh, why did I have that on? my daughter's 38 now.
Yeah.
So,
they were like
like
8 and 9, right?
Yeah. I think Jay was about 11.
11, yeah.
Jay was about 11.
Yep.
They're like 2 years apart, all of them. Yeah. So
what's been real cool, MZ, is that what we've done is these are three men that have kind of done life together.
Yeah.
Right?
Separately
and together.
And together.
So I mean, in most of our like real stuff that we've gone through, we've connected with each other over and over through these years.
Yeah.
Like, so most of my mess, these guys know about my mess.
Right.
And
like
vice versa.
Places where I've messed up. I know stuff where they've messed up, and we've always had that covenant, that society of preachers.
Yeah.
Cats that can say, hey, I'm trying to live this life. I need a friend that I can just open up and just say, I feel like hurting somebody today.
Yeah.
And it might just be myself. Can you pray for me? Can you listen to me?
Yeah.
And we've been there for each other.
Yeah.
While at the same time, all three of us have this keen passion for hip hop and for rap.
Yeah.
And so it's just been that type of thing. And so it's been fun. It's been a fun journey.
So that's a part of the whole essence of Crucible.
Yeah.
It's that journey in regards to our relationship with each other, like beyond the music, but within the context of the music, being able to express that maturity.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
That's what we talking about.
Yeah.
I remember one time I called Fred and said, look, bro, I need your help. I'm about to be on Dateline. That's definitely. Fred,
that
you
big.
remember that?
I remember. Yes,
I remember that. I know you do. I do. I'm telling you.
God, we've all had those days for sure.
No, but y'all don't understand. Jay was serious. Like, he would probably, I'd have been like,
side.
yo, that's Jay.
That's Jay. Oh, that's
Who did he kill?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, man, it's real like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no pretense in terms of our relationship.
pretense.
Like, it's real.
To me, and in my opinion, honestly, real talk is the gift that life can offer you if you look for it and take advantage of it, is that there are people around that if you figure out how to build a relationship with them and be together be there for each other, man, life has amazing gifts that it can just display. For example, you can be 50 plus and have a record label say, man, you guys still got it.
Yeah.
Can you guys come in and do something? We like, yeah, we could do that. And then the whole magic and chemistry that happens, like, you know how, like, with your comedy and all that you do with stage, you kind of almost have to have, like, I call it like what they were talking about with the Cowboys, with Aikman and your boy Irvin, Aikman and Irvin. They would kind of have this telepathy. They know, what to do. That's what we feel on stage.
Yeah.
So we know how to flow. That's not just because of rehearsal or because of hip hop. That's because we've lived life together and was like, we know and feel each other. And back to my point about the gift of life. If you look, life has a way of giving you those gifts that if you cultivate it, man, it could be a beautiful thing on down the line.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And honestly, I'd much rather hear you guys, and I'm glad that there's companies out there and stations out there giving you a platform, putting music together. I'd much rather hear what you guys have to say than some 20-year-old who is talking about the same stuff everyone else is talking about.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think there's some important stuff there. If somebody was trying to get into music because they loved it, let's just say they're not trying to do it because of they're trying to for the fame or the money. They're trying to get it because they have a passion for it. What advice would each one of you guys give them?
Build a team, because it's a little different nowadays. And so there's a lot of moving parts, and if you're going to be passionate about what you're doing, you need to be focused on that portion of it and that part, and let those other people work the other things that you don't know how to do for you to be successful, at least in getting it out there.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, you're an artist. That's something that you just never lose. If you're trying to be, then that'll show that you're just trying to be something. It's not really a part of who you are. I think that's a big part of what we experience with when we do what we do on platforms, and then afterward people ask us questions. It's like, wow, how do you? It's because we're artists. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to get paid because I'm an artist. I'm an artist, and I like to be paid for it.
Yeah.
There's a difference, if y'all understand what I mean by that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to build a team. You got to surround yourself with people who kind of know the parts that you don't know, so that you can stay focused on the part that you do.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I would say is this, don't be afraid to put your stuff out there. What makes you an artist? You could be an artist and you making paintings, or you can make a sculpture, or you can write a rhyme and just have it to yourself. What's going to actually make you a bona fide artist is you put it out there in the marketplace. Like, don't be afraid to put your stuff out. And it can even help with you building a team that you just got a close circle to say, I'm putting this out. Is this crazy? Is this stupid? Is it ugly? Or does it actually work? Then you find out. Like, I've been plenty of times where I wrote a rhyme. It was just about a week and a half ago. One of my favorite rappers right now, okay, just locally, is actually Rich. ASMC. It's ASMC's son. It's actually Richie Martin. Yeah. ASMC's mid. This kid is just a beast, a monster. Yep. And I told him, I was like, I'm working on this new rhyme. And so, I want you to check it out. I just want you to feel it. And as I was getting ready to send it to him, I was like, nah, it ain't ready yet. I got to get it tighter because once, you know how it is. When you're an artist, Erykah Badu said it good. I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my junk, right? Yeah. And so we are all like that. But you can let that sensitivity shut you down. Don't let it. What's really going to help you is put it out there and see what the world feels.
Yeah. You make adjustments from there.
Yeah, you make adjustments from there.
Because you're an artist.
Because you're an artist.
I would say this: know who you are when you start, and evolve.
Real
Don't
talk.
change.
Yeah.
Just evolve.
Yeah.
Because we're in this world where things are changing so fast, and the first thing you hear, oh, you sound like this person, oh, you sound like that person. I mean, I'm guessing that's possible for some people, but don't try to emulate that person.
Right.
Don't try to. My rap style has been. My rap style, it is never changed. I'm about to be 59 years old.
Right.
I'm going to rap the same way. I'm not putting no tones on my voice. No, I got them already.
You need auto-tune.
I got them already on my voice, so.
Life tones.
I got these life tones, exactly. But be who you are, know who you are, and evolve. Don't change, evolve.
I would say, I'd say grow, right? Because evolving, sometimes it gives a connotation that you have to change. But when you grow, it's just like a child. It's the same person. They're just mature, right? Mm-hmm. Because like you say, Jay, he's like, I'm not changing. My style is my style. But what I'm saying within the context of my style, it has grown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What I was spitting at 25, 24 is different now.
Yeah.
I still have battle rap tendencies when I spit bars, but I also realize I'm a father and a grandfather.
Right.
So
yes,
I have a different approach in terms of my mindset about like when I'm writing rhymes now, because I've lived some. Our manager would say this: you live a little.
Yeah,
He
does say that,
right? And because you walk in this aspect of you didn't know that before, now you know that.
Yeah.
So I can address it from that. So I've grown. You know what I'm saying? So
that's what's up.
Growth.
Well, I think that's incredible advice. I think you guys, I can't wait to watch the documentary.
Yes.
Can't wait for, when's the album going to drop?
Yeah, guys. When the album going to drop?
Who are you waiting on? Who needs to be in studio right now? We'll do it right now.
We do.
All of us. Facts. Yo, no, we after doing what we did on last night, we had a show that we did at my church. Reaching back to younger MCs and things of that nature. We're in grind mode right now, so we're anticipating June. We'll see what.
Oh wow, that quick! I was thinking that.
Well,
I was thinking my time frame, which would have been like in 2 years. June's great. That's fast.
We've done stuff in shorter periods of time.
We've done stuff in shorter periods of time.
We're in grind mode right now.
We're in grind mode.
And when it does come out, how can we follow you? When do we know when you guys are performing next? What's the best way?
Easy way to get in touch with us on all of our socials. It's Hey Preachas. Preachas, Preachas. Hey Preachas. So in Facebook, facebook.com/Hey Preachas. Instagram, Hey Preachas. Twitter, X, Hey Preachas. TikTok, Hey Preachas. So that's the best way, quickest way to get like real time. If you want to go to the website, it's simply preachas.com. Preachas, preachas.com.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
It's
Can't
a pleasure,
wait.
MZ.
I'm going to go and
love.
Go download your album as soon as it comes out. I'm buying it. So,
Come out.
So
10
something
copies.
that you could definitely check out right now. We just dropped a single on Spotify and on all the other all the other music platforms. It's called Favor, and so you can just go check that out. You could just look up PID/Favor and check us out, or just go to the socials as well, and you'll find it there too.
And take them to church. Don't forget
And
about
take 'em
that.
to
We
church.
got
That
two
was the
ready.
first
We
one.
got 2 songs right now playing.
With music
currently.
videos.
And videos with
Check
videos.
them out.
So.
Check them out.
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Can't wait to see what you guys do next.
This is MZ Now, online at mznow.tv. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/MZ Now.